I'm State Representative Jason Overstreet from the 42nd District. I appreciate you joining me today from our state capitol. With the legislature now in its last 2 weeks of the 2012 regular session, I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about what our state constitution refers to as the fundamental principles. Article 1, Section 32 says that a frequent recurrence to fundamental principles is essential to the security of individual right and the perpetuity of free government. Where does individual right and free government come from? The preamble to our state constitution has this to say on the subject. We, the people of the state of Washington, grateful to the supreme ruler of the universe for our liberties, do ordain this constitution. With the supreme ruler of the universe having granted us our liberties, where does governmental power come from and what is its intended purpose? Article 1, Section 1 states clearly that all political power is inherent in the people, and governments derive their just power from the consent of the governed, and are established, why? To protect and maintain individual rights. Undergirding our system of constitutional government is the rule of law. What is the rule of law, and why is it important? For a concise answer, we'll borrow a statement from LexisNexis that says, the rule of law in its most basic form is the principle that no one is above the law. The rule follows logically from the idea that truth, and therefore law, is based upon fundamental principles, which can be discovered, but which cannot be created through an act of will. The most important application of the rule of law is the principle that governmental authority is legitimately exercised only in accordance with written, publicly disclosed laws, adopted and enforced in accordance with established procedural steps that are referred to as due process. The principle is intended to be a safeguard against arbitrary governance, whether by a totalitarian leader or by mob rule. Thus, the rule of law is hostile to both dictatorship and to anarchy. Let's now turn to Article 1, or the Declaration of Rights, and take a look at a few of those sections which we can so easily take for granted. Section 3 says that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Section 5 grants that every person may freely speak, write, or publish on all subjects, being responsible for the abuse of that right. Section 11 acknowledges that absolute freedom of conscience in all matters of religious sentiment, belief, and worship shall be guaranteed to every individual, and that no one shall be molested or disturbed in person or property on account of religion. Section 16 speaks plainly to the fundamental principle that no private property shall be taken or damaged for public or private use without just compensation having been first made. Section 24 states that the right of the individual to bear arms in defense of himself or the state shall not be impaired. And finally, Section 29 commands that the provisions of this Constitution are mandatory, unless by express words they are declared to be otherwise. If you want to change it, you have to amend it. I hope you've enjoyed our discussion and that you share with me an appetite to continue to read, study, and pursue not only our state constitution, but the United States Constitution as well. These documents are the cornerstones of our republic. Without them and a vigorous defense of the rule of law, history shows us that power is quickly usurped and freedom suffers. As Ronald Reagan warned, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States, where men were free. Well, that's all the time I have left with you today. But please remember, I'm always just a call or email away. My door's always open. I'm State Representative Jason Overstreet. It's an honor and a privilege to serve you in the State House of Representatives. God bless you, your family, and the great state of Washington.